Hello everybody, Jake, your resident content cowboy here, yeehaw, and we have pretty much everything we know about Zacian right now for Pokemon Unite. I'm going to take you through the entire moveset video posted by El Chico Eevee. I'm also going to talk to you about really every single piece of information we know about this Pokemon coming to Unite. It will be for Pokemon Day tomorrow. That is the information we have. It will be free is what it looks like. We don't know exactly how this will be obtained through an event. I assume it will be very similar to Hoopa or Mew, somewhere in between that, but this will be the big announcement here for Pokemon Day. And from Eevee, we have the moveset as well as a really cool piece of information about its held item. So let's take a look here at this video. The audio in this video will be Spanish, but the text will be English. I'm just going to be reading it. This is El Chico Eevee's video. I will have a link to it in the description here. Let's take a look at the stats on this Pokemon here real quick. So HP wise, it gets up to 8,000 HP. This is an all-rounder here. Its attack gets up to 560, which is a very, very high attack stat. Its defense 440, also quite high. Special defense 350, quite high. So these are big stats on this Pokemon, and we can see it has 0% critical hit rate, which is odd for an all-rounder. So I'm not sure exactly what they're doing with that, but that is an interesting stat to see right here. If we want to compare this, like let's say to another all-rounder, 560 attack, 440 defense, 350 special defense here. Let's take a look. So looking at our all-rounders right here, you can see HP wise, it falls in line with a lot of the higher end all-rounders, Urshifu, Scissor, Tyranitar, Azumarill, right there with HP. Attack-wise, it's blowing just about everything out of the water here. Scyther obviously is higher, but that's more of a speedster type build. So attack-wise, it's pretty crazy right here. And then defense and special defense-wise, we've got Pokemon like Scissor and Tyranitar that are extremely high in these two stats, but it's stat-wise a very, very solid Pokemon. Once again, however, 0% critical hit. So I'm very interested to see what that exactly is going to look like when you get it into the game. I'm wondering if that's exactly correct or if that's just what it's showing inside the files. Maybe this Pokemon won't critically hit at all. I'm not sure. Let's take a look here at some of the rest of the information here, moving forward from our stat screen. Okay, so this is super interesting. This Pokemon is going to have the first exclusive held item. You must have a rusted sword for Zacian. You will only be able to have 2 extra held items here. If it's true that you can't critically hit at all, it's probably unlikely that you would want to run a scope lens on this Pokemon, but you know, I'm not sure. I haven't actually played with it here, but given that it has no natural crit, it's unlikely that this is the case, but we're just gonna have to see what you would run inside the game. But I can't wait to see what you do with the rusted sword, if you level it up individually, if that means that you have to spend the same amount of tickets on it that you normally would. I'm really, really curious about this exclusive held item, and I'm also curious if it has an exclusive held item, are we moving towards a future where we will have possibly 4 held items in the future? Something that I've really wanted for a long time because I think there are a lot of great 4th held item options. Or is this just where the direction is going with specific Pokemon having specific held items that make a lot of sense inside of the mainline games as well? Right here we can see sort of the artwork for the game right now. Let's talk about Intrepid Sword. Okay. If the goal scoring button is held down, the Pokemon with this ability has its sword charged with Eos energy, and for a short time, its basic attacks become boosted attacks. In addition, during the effect duration, the Pokemon can use a boosted version of its moves once. The longer the goal scoring button's held, the more Eos energy is charged, lengthening the duration of the boost effect on basic attacks and moves here. So you can see the 3 levels of charging right there at the bottom. This ability goes on cooldown after it's triggered. Boosted basic attacks have an increased area of effect and deal additional damage proportional to the opposing Pokemon's HP. So the more HP, the more damage. Usually that means more max HP. When this Pokemon knocks out or assists in knocking out a Pokemon, that Pokemon will drop more Eos energy. So this also sets up situations where you can score greater amounts of points, but you can also charge up your Intrepid Sword to do crazier and crazier moves. That would be the idea behind this. Its basic attacks are performed consecutively within a set amount of time, the effects for the second and subsequent basic attack stages will change as described below. When the Pokemon is using a move, the set time is extended. So you are hoping to get through all of the stages of your attacks right here. The longer you're around this Pokemon, the more you're letting it attack, the worse things should be for you. The user deals extra damage to opposing Pokemon and decreases their move speed on stage 2. Stage 3, the user deals damage to opposing Pokemon while restoring its own HP. This feels like kind of similar to what you would know from Outrage Dragonite's boosteds, you know, kind of in that progression. Stage 4, the user quickly draws near an opposing Pokemon and deals damage to it. All the user's move cooldowns are reduced. So if you get that stage 4, you have a quick dash, it sounds like, and then you reduce your cooldowns right here. Here is Slash. I think this is your early move, has the user deal damage to an opposing Pokemon, deal small amounts of damage to nearby opposing Pokemon. When this move is boosted with Eos Energy, its effect is increased, it deals increased damage, and it decreases opposing Pokemon's move speed. So you can see the two differences here. You'll know if your moves are charged based on the icon. It's basically the normal color it would be, or this kind of very pretty yellow purple, and I think all of them sort of follow that same suit as we're seeing them right here. And we can see that on Metal Claw as well. Metal Claw, the user release a shockwave in the designated direction. When the user releases that shockwave, dealing damage to opposing Pokemon it hits and decreasing their movement speed. As the shockwave moves forward, it negates projectile attacks from opposing Pokemon it hits. I don't even know the implication of this. If we're talking about that you can eat a Spirit Shackle or a Pyro Ball or what this will count, I really don't know. If this charge hits an opposing Pokemon, the user's basic attack speed is increased for a short time. When this move is boosted with Eos Energy, the shockwave's size and travel distance are increased. Also, the movement speed of opposing Pokemon hit by the shockwave is further decreased. The upgrade reduces this move's cooldown. Sounds pretty freaking awesome, especially the negating projectile attacks. I don't even know what it counts. I don't know if it also counts basics from Cinderace, just as they're kicking. Who knows? It could be a really massive thing if you're able to actually just straight up negate a Hyper Beam or something like that. I honestly don't know what this is going to look like. Our next move, Sacred Sword, has the user slash around itself as if drawing a circle with the tip of its sword, dealing damage to opposing Pokemon in the area of effect and decreasing their movement speed. The user then unleashes a slashing attack inside the circle, dealing damage to opposing Pokemon it hits and leaving them unable to act. So a nice little stun there. After the move hits an opposing Pokemon, the user's attack is increased for a short time, and damage dealt by the user's moves and basic attacks partially ignore opposing Pokemon's defense. This is what we'd be looking at as either true damage or piercing damage. It sounds like it's piercing, but I believe piercing pierces shields. So if I'm reading this correctly, a part of your damage would actually be true damage. I could be wrong about that, but if it's ignoring defenses, that's actually not shield piercing. That is ignoring defenses. That's true damage, but I don't know exactly how they're going to have that play out. When this move is boosted with Eos Energy, its area of effect is increased, and the time until slashing attack is unleashed is reduced. Upgrade reduces the time until slashing attack is unleashed. So just makes it easier for you to sort of make this attack this really exciting combo that you could get. Sacred Sword could be very cool. Let's take a look at our next move right here, which is going to be your second beginning move, I believe. Quick Attack has the user charge in the designated direction, stop in place when it hits an opposing Pokemon and deal damage to it. When this move is boosted with Eos Energy, it also leaves opposing Pokemon unable to act for a short time. So it's a dash with a stun if you have it boosted, and if you don't have it boosted, it's just a dash and you make your way to the enemy. That either swaps with Agility or your other move here. Agility, remove any hindrances applied to the user and greatly increase the user's move speed. So very similar to Dodrio right here. After a short time, the movement speed increase weakens and stays that way for a set amount of time. The effect duration is increased if the user is in combat with Pokemon from the opposing team. So if you're fighting, if you're in proximity of a fight, you actually get the move speed for longer. When this move is boosted with Eos Energy, the user's move speed is further increased and the user is granted a shield. The upgrade further increases move speed. So this could be a massive burst in move speed that could of course get you into a fight, but also get you out of it. Essentially, having the ability to remove hindrances on a cooldown can always be pretty nuts, especially with the game being so crowd control heavy right now. We also have Play Rough. Has the user leap in the designated direction, dealing damage to an opposing Pokemon it hits and leaving them unable to act. The user lands near the opposing Pokemon it hit and deals damage to nearby opposing Pokemon. Damage taken by the user is reduced for a short time, pretty big, after landing. When this move is boosted with AO Synergy, the user leaps further and will no longer stop in place when hitting an opposing Pokemon, and all opposing Pokemon hit along the leap's path will receive damage and be left unable to act. Sounds pretty nuts. Upgrade increases the length of time opposing Pokemon are left unable to act. That's huge. And now we have its Unite move. Sovereign Sword. Has the user ready its giant sword, charge the sword with AO Synergy, and then slash in front of itself. The user becomes immune to hindrances while this Unite move button is held, and the user itself is in a ready stance. The longer the user's in the stance, the more AO Synergy is charged into the sword, and the more damage this move deals. So this could be one of those moves where you're watching them charge it up and you have time to kind of get out of it, but if you can't get out of it, you're in so much trouble. If a set amount of AO Synergy or more is charged, the Unite move becomes boosted and the slash's area of effect increases. This boosted Unite move deals increased damage to opposing Pokemon it hits who have been buffed by their own Unite move. So, this is really interesting. If your opponents have used a Unite move, this is now a Unite move counter, which seems crazy, but you have the ability to sort of go, oh, you've used your Unite move, now I can actually take you out easier, which is wild. I don't know what the damage increase is going to be, but that sounds pretty amazing, if you ask me. And those are all of our Zacian moves, I believe. I don't think they have anything else. Nope, that is it. I'll have a link to this in the description as well, of course. Again, everything we know, it's coming out for Pokemon Day. That's what it looks like. It should be free, that you unlock through an event. Those are all of its moves. It has a specific held item that only it has. I can't wait. I'm going to be streaming like all day tomorrow for Pokemon Day. It's going to be pretty exciting. There are also tons of buffs coming to the game. You know what? If you're hanging at this part of the video and you just want to hear me talk briefly about the buffs, I'm going to do that right now. I might as well. We haven't got to see all of them possibly, but let's talk about the ones that we know coming to the game here. Oh, I should also mention that one thing that I thought was really cool is we have a new badge color coming that Eevee's talking about, which is negating parts of damage received. It's I think it's badge color gray or something like that they mentioned. That one, yeah, new badge color gray. That one could be really interesting. So we have more emblems coming to the game as well. Let's take a look at these patch notes while I have you all here. Okay, we've talked about some of this before. Dragonite getting a buff, so its boosteds are getting a buff, which will be nice for Outrage. Its Unite move is getting a buff. It'll be able to be used faster. Trevenant getting a few big buffs. We did not know about the Pain Split buff. So Pain Split is getting a massive buff. We're gonna have to see if this actually equals massive buffs inside the game, but these are huge buffs, going from basically you used to reflect 9% damage to 20% base. You used to not even get 20% as your max reflection. So now 20% is your base and 30% of damage received is reflected on Pain Split. I mean, that's huge. We're gonna have to see if you're able to use this Pokemon in a much different way now because of that. Espeon is getting the Battle Pass treatment. As you can see right here, it's getting some changes to its Swift and Psyshock range, which is huge. It's getting a cooldown reduction to its passive. Its auto attack is getting some changes. Like Espeon's just getting big buffs across the board, which is great because I would like to see this Pokemon get used more often. Delphox is getting some kind of buffs and some nerfs. A little nerf to Flame Charge. We'll see how much it affects it. Its level 13 is going to be a lot slower. Mystical Fire getting a damage nerf, and then its Fire Blast actually getting a nice damage buff. I still think Delphox will be doing just fine. Tyranitar getting some buffs and nerfs. Dark Pulse getting nerfs to its damage, while Stone Edge is getting buffs. And then Ancient Power is getting a 1-second cooldown nerf. Zoroark getting some nice buffs to its late game, so it's actually getting more attack late game. Also, Cut is getting a buff, and its Unite move is getting a buff to its cooldown. Urshifu here, it looks like it's actually getting possibly just a bug fix on its Surging Strikes Plus, even though this thing needs a massive nerf. It feels like. I think it's just getting a bug fix. Gardevoir getting a little bit of a change to its Psychic and Psyshock. They're both getting some additional time added for their cooldowns, so not ideal. A little bit of a nerf there for Guardy. Talonflame, it looks like we're getting a Brave Bird buff, which is you know, we'll see. We'll see if that's useful. Let me see if I can get this better on the screen for y'all so you can just see this part here. Brave Bird is getting a 1.5 seconds off cooldown, and then Brave Bird cooldown, and it says some game mode maybe getting another 1.5 seconds shaved off it. I truly don't understand exactly what's going on with Talon. There was also something about Talon's move speed. We've got Eldegoss's Cotton Guard getting a change. It's getting a nerf. It's going to take a little longer to use Cotton Guard. Mr. Mime, this says not confirmed, pure speculation based on files, is that power swap is going down from 15 to 8 and then plus from 20 to 12. Wigglytuff's going to be able to use its Unite move more often. That's a great change. Zeraora, I don't understand this. I don't even know. Spark, forbid, normal, attack with don't know. Don't even know what, sorry, I don't know what that means. And Decidueye, Leaf Storm, camera offset by skill. I don't know if this is, you can actually move while using Leaf Storm now. I'm not sure if that's what that means, or if it pushes yourself. It doesn't push yourself. I really don't know what these means. We'll have to see inside the game. But there we go. It's everything we know. I'll see you all tomorrow morning for Pokemon Day. I love you. See you soon.